Welcome, everybody. Hey, Shalima. This is going to be pretty short. I'm taking part in the Missing Children's Recognition Day. Um, hey, Amanda Lee. Positively Parker had it put out that she wanted to see if some other creators would do something today for the missing children. It's recognized today, May 25th, 2022. And so I decided that I would come on and briefly talk about Morgan Nick, who was kidnapped from a ballpark in Alma, Arkansas in 1995. So she's in her late 20s now. And let me read to you. This is from the Morgan Nick Foundation, which also helps other missing children. And so let me read you what Morgan Nick Foundation on their page. At 10:45 p.m. on June 9, 1995, in Alma, Arkansas, 6-year-old Morgan Nick was abducted from a Little League ball game by an unidentified man. She was attending a game with her mother and had joined some friends to catch lightning bugs. Morgan was last seen standing near her mother's car, where she had stopped to empty sand from her shoes. So the kids were playing, from what I've heard before, like, a lot of ballparks, the younger kids will go play on the playground stuff while the parents are watching their a little bit older kids play ball. And little kids don't really get into that. Witnesses observed a man watching the youngster as she was playing with other children at the park. The witness also saw a red Ford pickup with a white camper parked nearby that disappeared at about the same time as Morgan. The camper is possibly damaged at the right rear and was described as 4 or 5 inches too short for the truck, which has a short wheelbase and paint dulled by age. The truck is believed to have Arkansas license plates. The man who was watching her, apparently, is described as white, 6 feet tall, with a medium to solid build, a mustache, and a 1-inch beard. At the time, he was believed to be 23 to 38 years old. At the time of her disappearance, Morgan was approximately 4 feet tall, about 55 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. Morgan had 5 visible silver caps on her molars. She was last seen wearing a green Girl Scout t-shirt, blue denim shorts, and white tennis shoes. A massive investigation has turned up thousands of leads. So I hear about this all the time. And at some point, it's an old looking beat up kind of red truck. And at one point, someone who I went to high school with, who later married someone who I don't know, he was supposedly implicated by someone on the internet, but you know how that goes. And I don't know the man. I know my friend wouldn't be married to somebody who did something like that. Anyway, I don't know. They don't live in Arkansas anymore. I never talked to her about that because I'm sure it was really embarrassing when that got out, supposedly blaming him for it. So there's been thousands of leads, but no solid clues to the whereabouts of Morgan Nick or her abductor. The FBI and local communities have offered a $60,000 reward for the recovery of Morgan Chantel Nick and the identification, arrest, and conviction of subject or subjects responsible for her abduction. The search continues to move forward. There have been numerous possible sightings of Morgan across the United States. Morgan's parents believe that Morgan is still alive and hope that with continued media coverage, someone will be able to provide them with information that could bring their daughter home. She would be 24 now, it says. I thought I saw 27 somewhere. I haven't done the math. You can contact the Alma Police Department, the Morgan Nick Foundation, which is where I'm on now. You can find the Morgan Nick Foundation to get all the information on how to report anything if you have any information from the internet at morgannickfoundation.com. So any of these other, I don't need to give you all these addresses and everything, but you know, Arkansas is a small state and not highly populated because, you know, our biggest city is Little Rock and it's not even that big. So that's what's going on with her. And let me just speak to everybody. Nightmare, hey. Irish Crime, hey. Urban, hey. Nightmare, Irish Crime. Yeah. So, yeah, this is basically not a, I could have let the chat off because this isn't really to chat about. I just wanted to be part of this day to recognize the missing children. Morgan Nick has, you know, like I said, she's been in the news for years. It pops up from time to time because new information comes out, like the red truck. And it's so sad that so many children are missing. And I am still, you know, just, I can't really even watch the news from the mass shooting yesterday in Texas. I just can't even fathom being part of a community where that happens and having children who are killed in that way. Losing a child would have to be the most horrible experience. And then on top of that, the tragedy. And there was a shooting in Arkansas in the 90s, in Jonesboro, Arkansas, where the two gunmen were kids at the school, and they pulled, from what I've, you know, gathered, they pulled the alarm, the fire alarm, and went over into the woods. And as everybody exited the school, they began shooting. And I don't remember how many children died in that, but I have a few friends who were students in that school when that happened. And I mean, that was like the first school shooting that I had heard of. I mean, it was in the 90s. I'm sure there were school shootings before that, but oh, Roddy Mama, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's losing a child to a kidnapping. I just can't even imagine what Morgan Nick's mother has gone through all these years. She's pictured in the thumbnail that I put for this video. That's her holding the picture of her daughter. And the strength that it must take to be able to continue with the unknown. I mean, sometimes the unknown can be worse than the known. I don't know that that's how it is for her because I'm not her, but just the thought that your child is out there somewhere and you can't find them and you don't know what's happened to them. It just, the children getting killed just really has a big effect on my mental, on my mind. And that's not any big deal. I mean, what I'm feeling is nothing compared to those parents. And I'm just really sorry for them. And you guys, I don't really have a whole lot to say about Morgan Nick other than what I've just read to you. I'm not going to go into all the stuff that's been, you know, done since 1995, since she went missing. There's really no point in that. If that led to something, then, or leads to something, then hopefully we can find out what happened to her and her mother can have peace one way or the other. Her mother still believes she's alive, and I hope she's still alive. And just, if you see something, say something. I've said this about YouTube before. YouTube says we're supposed to report things. There's nothing wrong with reporting something if it's really, if it's really a problem. If you see something with any other kids, there's so many kids missing. I could have I don't even know how many are missing in Arkansas, but that's who came to mind whenever Parker suggested maybe we do this. So I chose her, and that's really all I have today. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. If you're not in Arkansas, you probably never heard of this, but it's an ongoing search. I will say there was a girl missing, a teenager missing in Little Rock, and the police, the detective on the case, there were some kind of issues with the detective on the case. This girl's car was found, and it was a few years later when they found her body from the drainage, like, the culvert thing nearby where her car was found. I mean, they didn't find her, and she was right there, within yards of her car. That lady was on Dr. Phil a couple of times about that. So it's sad. This stuff's ongoing every day. It's something that we need to think about. We need to think about the children. We need to not report things that aren't real. None of us need to be calling CPS and the police on people and their children. None of that stuff needs to be happening, and that's in my opinion. And if you call in false reports, you're taking time and energy and resources away from children who really do need help. So if you just think about it like that, if you're calling DHS or the police on a child who's not being injured because you don't like their parent, you are taking time away from a child who is in danger, because caseworkers and police only have so much time in a day, and they are overburdened. They don't have time to spend hours a day on one child. They have too many children to cover, and it's a very hard job. And I just want everybody to be aware of there's real stuff going on, and you can help in that way. I appreciate everybody being here. Keep Morgan Nick and all the missing children and all these families that were, anytime there's a mass shooting, there's got to be so much heartache, and there's so much pain in the world. And just remember that, because we don't know what the next person's going through, and there's ways we can help. So thanks for being here, and everybody have a great day. See y'all next time.